Hi, Joanne.
God,
Uh,
the
don't you?
morning already. I got up early to get some things done, to
Yeah.
make up for all the extra time driving.
Uh, you know what we got is and they're really small now. Is um,
Oh, the booster. Yeah, the battery booster,
yeah,
battery charger. We had one and then Rick lent it to one of the kids. And we haven't seen it since.
because the one we got is only about this big. It's not.
Not heavier. Yeah,
Yeah, it's easy to use.
right, right. No, we did have one when we were in New York. We had some trouble. So Rick was like, it's just easier to get this. And yeah,
yeah,
we had it for a while, and then I think one of the kids needed it and haven't seen it since. So I don't have it. I mean, when Rick gets home, we can. But I think the bigger question is, to me, the bigger question is, why is it making that beep, which is clearly draining the battery?
yeah,
I mean, there's a root cause here that's not like, oh, I left on the lights. I don't think. Again, it's not my car, so that makes it a little more puzzling.
yeah. Oh well.
Because the
Morning,
beep
Bill.
is, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or someone will figure it out.
How are you, Bill?
Okay.
Good. Good to see you.
Yeah, same here.
How's your dizziness?
um, it's pretty much under control right now. I
Good.
actually have a follow-up visit with the ENT tomorrow, and I should get results.
Uh-huh.
I did have a brain MRI that suggested I had fluid in the mastoid bone, which could mean
Mm.
ear infection. So,
Yep.
I'll be right back. Here, Rick, I need to fill him in and stuff. All
Okay.
right, here we go. I'm just starting class. You here?
Carol and Joanne were going to come out here today
yeah.
to work on the form after this part of the class, and she couldn't get her car started.
Oh, dear.
She'd had one of those, little booster packs, which are really helpful. Um, but they loaned it to one of their kids, and they haven't seen it since. Oh well.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. A little tired today and apparently slept funny. My back's a little weird, but weirder than usual. But otherwise, I'm really, all in all, I'm good.
I should mention that next Tuesday for Woo Style, I probably will not make it. We're having the water people out to work on the well, uh, and their window is 10 to 2, so uh,
Well,
10 to 12. So,
I was going to have to cancel next week anyway because
oh, okay.
I'm scheduled to get a pacemaker that day.
Okay.
Wow. So you're canceling the third. Where are we? The 30th.
Yeah,
Or
both
no, you're
both
canceling
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
both Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
I'll say that again when
Yeah. Okay. I'll cross it off.
the rest are here. Yeah, I well, obviously getting the pacemaker takes a big chunk of the day, so I'm not going to be available on
No,
Tuesday.
I
And
jump right back in.
I'm not supposed to do much for a week with
Uh-huh.
particularly with that arm. So uh,
Oh, interesting. Huh.
I think I'm better off to take care of myself and
Yes, David, we would prefer that. Yeah. We put on a recording of you if we really need a
Right.
little of that.
You can all
We have
practice.
lots.
You can
We
all
have lots.
you can all practice.
We can practice. That's right.
Uh, well, Carol hasn't arrived yet.
Right. No, and I didn't contact her about my not being able to come. I just figured that she would be on the road by the time I figured. Yeah, Bill, I was on my way to go out to David's today for class, and then my car wouldn't work. So, like, okay. We'll figure that out why the battery's dead.
Well, we had that recently with our car, and we needed a new battery.
Yeah. But there's this clicking sound. That's what I don't understand. That like I said, I've never heard before. But it's not my car, so it's from my daughter's.
Who knows?
Who knows? Somebody, hopefully the mechanic, if we can't figure it out.
Yeah.
It's just boosting it. If we can't stop the clicking, it's just going to keep draining it. So.
Huh. I don't know. That's
why we have experts in certain fields.
Right.
I wouldn't want my mechanic to teach me Tai Chi either, David. So, know.
Isn't that
that way?
Isn't that the truth?
Isn't that the truth? Nice guy.
Yes.
Actually.
Our mechanic
I congratulated one of them last week. I've known him since he was in high school, and he started working there when he was, at Tech. And I said, I just want to thank you for talking to me like I really understood everything, and answering my questions. Because I know a lot of mechanics really talk down to women, Yeah. And, if there's anything I don't understand, I don't feel stupid asking them both,
Yeah.
Both the older guy, who's probably a little younger than me, and Bill, who's like my kid's age, But anyway.
We have Rob almost around the corner, who's really fantastic. And he's good that way too. He doesn't talk down to women.
Yeah, but a lot of them do.
He's a one.
Yeah, I've had that experience.
He's a one-man operation.
Wow.
He was he worked. He was a service manager for a dealer, and got sick of it.
Imagine, yeah. These guys, it's a two-person operation, and it's Sullivan's in here in Norwich. It was owned by the father of the older guy, and then he took over, and then he took on a younger guy. So, not quite 3 generations in the same family, but 3 generations of people who have been, there. So we're happy with them, but we trust them.
Well,
and they think we're crazy because we always drive very old cars and we go long distances with them. I mean, the car I'm borrowing now is a Toyota with about 300,000 miles on it.
Only 300,000.
It's a Toyota.
Well,
my daughters. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know where Bill and Carol are. We probably know where Adam is.
Yeah. Stuck in a meeting.
But let's go ahead and start.
Okay.
Well, the team show likes you a lot today.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
So, thoughts, questions, what you need to work on? Anything at all? You got everything perfectly.
Always things. I mean, I think some of it is still what we talked about last week, right? It's just kind of, making sure that in God's we are doing it correctly, right? Doing the movements correctly. At the same time, looking at deepening, right? And looking at the dissolving, right? So I just think that I don't have any specific questions. I just think that's a matter of continued practice, which I didn't get as much done this week as I had hoped. But I don't have any specific questions about it, I think, and maybe that's because I'm not deep enough to get to the questions.
That's all right.
But I don't feel that way. I mean, so I guess that's kind of, and I still feel like I'm not just 7, but every so often still trying to make sure I'm doing, like the 2 and the 5 correctly and the 3, there's still a few like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Making sure it's my form is correct.
No, that's pretty much the same for me. I actually could probably stand a review on the transition between postures. All of them.
Okay.
I just have a feeling that I'm probably mechanically doing them okay, but I feel like there's probably a lapse in that transition. We get the energy going and the posture itself, and then there's this little thing that goes on in between, and I'm thinking there may need to be something more to it.
Perhaps. So then let me run through those transitions first.
Okay.
Just to since that's a question, and I'll try to look at not only the physical movement but the energetic movement.
Yeah. Yes. Good.
Yep.
In there.
Yeah, we don't want to be separating. We're kind of beyond that, hopefully.
Well, maybe.
Maybe not. Well, we'll see.
So I talked about this once before, but I'll just mention it, that I think it's really important to take the time at the beginning to let yourself really go as far back into Wu-Ji as you can, in other words, stillness, and allow the impulse to begin. Good morning. Not be something that you consciously decide, but that comes from inside of you. So it's something that you feel, that sense simply says it's time to begin, and the energy changes. So I'm not going to try to do that today at the moment, because you could stand for 1 minute or an hour before that is appropriate. And it is part of really becoming aware of that energy flow in your body, to take that time from time to time. Maybe you can't do that every time you practice, but now and then when you do. So I had a question about transitions, so that's what I'm looking at the moment.
Morning, Carol.
Hi, Carol. Sorry, Carol, my car wouldn't start, so I'm here. Oh dear.
Yeah.
I know, of all days. Of all days.
Yeah. So stepping out and drawing in to the dantian, and then flowing out and in. And then when you want to go to 3, you keep that in going and then out. And whichever way you're going, the circle really doesn't make a huge difference. And of course, you're going to reverse that. And then when you come up to here, this now is a drawing in and then out all the way to the top and in. So you're constantly trying to round the corners and keep the energy flowing. And when you go to 5, you have to condense. And when you get down to the dantian, you continue in and then go out. And in and out. And as you go to 6, you're going out and then in and out and in and as you come down and you're going to go to 8, you come in, go out, extending the neck, and then out and in and on through 8. So that's really just looking at the transitions. So questions in there, Bill?
No, no. Um, Happily.
Okay.
Starting 3 wrong. That was
So,
helpful. Thank you.
so I was asking here whether anybody had any particular questions. Well, yes. Who wants? Bill. Bill wants to come in.
Looks like he must have come in twice.
He may. And I was going to open. Morning, Bill.
Morning.
Morning.
I got my beauty rest, I guess.
Okay.
I think it worked.
So we were starting today with asking if there were any particular things you wanted to look at, either more deeply or simply on the surface, whatever. And Bill had asked to look at the transitions, and I just went through those transitions. So anything for you, Bill or Carol? Not particularly.
Well,
Transitions is good when I'll go back and look at the recording.
I do have a question about three, which isn't about transitions, but I noticed I feel like there's a difference when we do it. Are we doing 10 on each side or 20 on each side in three? When we do three,
only doing 10 on each side.
10 on each side.
Yeah. And remember that actually I didn't do it. You can actually start start three from the top rather than at the bottom. So that's one
Okay.
where you have to really see what works best for you.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, that's helpful because I've been doing it at the top.
yeah, and that's
all right,
fine.
so that's okay.
That's fine. The thing to be careful of when you start from the bottom, and I realize I wasn't quite as accurate about this as I would have liked, but to be sure that after you extend out, you don't create a corner. You have to round that transition each time as you continue.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else for you, Bill?
on 6.
Uh-huh.
This is an out and then in. What's the breathing doing?
Exhale, inhale.
Okay.
But one of the things about 6, because just watching you, and you may have just not been doing it the way you normally do, I don't know, but I just want to remind everyone that when you do 6, when you get up here to the top, that it's important to bring the elbows in and drop the shoulders as you are coming down. You don't want to do it this way. So that would just be, we're continually working to develop that the elbow, understanding the movement of the elbow. I'm probably going to a couple of times going to mention the Rick Barrett workshop this weekend, which was a particularly good one. But one of the things that he did in that was we were looking at releasing the elbow, and it was let me stand up so you can see perhaps see my elbow. You can't see me at all.
Well, I can see you in there.
But what we were discovering was that simply using your mind intent and releasing the elbow down opened and created power. We actually were pushing each other away. The other person would give you actually was holding your wrist and pushing into you, and just by releasing the elbow, you could cause them to move away. So it just is a reminder about how important what we're doing with the elbow is. Which also goes into lengthening, which was something that I thought we might talk about a little bit, because to my mind, it's one of the more difficult Neigong elements. And I got reminded of that this weekend also. But one of the interesting things was that Rick doesn't use the term lengthening. He uses the term reaching. So
Reaching.
you're not trying to do something. You're simply using your mind intent to allow that arm or leg to reach out to whatever extent. I mean, there are a lot of possibilities. And one of the things that I discovered this weekend in my work was that I thought I was releasing everything, but I was holding on to a tiny bit of shoulder that I apparently didn't want to let go of. And it blocked the power. It just blocked the power.
Mm.
And as soon as I could let go of that, boom, I could, my partner moved away. So, lengthening is a really, really important element. And it's important in God's, and it's important in Tai Chi, and Bagua and Xingyi, and you can go on and on. But one of the things about it that is really a good way to think about it is that when you're talking about lengthening, you're not talking about just releasing the arm. You actually have to release the whole body.
Mm-hmm.
And even to the extent of releasing the plates of the skull to get the full ability to lengthen or reach out. But a simple exercise that you can work with yourself, and it's also a great partner exercise, but because we have so much Zoom, I'm gonna do it this way. But I'm going to turn sideways just so you can kind of see my arms. So I can just relax my shoulders and I lengthen. But then if you relax your neck, you lengthen a little bit further. And I'm not pushing out, I'm just releasing. And then if you check your shoulders again, make sure they've really let go, and maybe a little more. And then relax the chest. And all of a sudden you go a little bit further. And relax the back, even if it's just the upper back. So just finding how to do that much. I mean, there's more to it than that because it obviously goes through the whole body. But simply learning to really feel those releases allows you then to take it into the practice so that we don't tighten up anywhere. So that we really allow, and I'll talk about lengthening in at another time. Let's just stick with out here. But we get in, so out, everything is going out. Everything is moving, releasing to reach out into your etheric body. And then there is a coming back in and a going out. And we get so caught up in doing the movements correctly that we end up stretching instead of releasing. We get just focused on the physical movement. And what we want to do is let go and let the energy flow through that. So that there is a real expression, it's intentional into. There's a real reaching out with the energy into your etheric body. Anybody have a question in there?
No, that's very
That-
helpful.
No.
That's very good. Yeah, but yes, you're demonstrating too. I'm in 6. We changed our coordination with the breathing, and would you just contrast 2 and 6 in terms of maybe the lengthening also, or if there is a contrast?
Sure.
I mean, 2 and 5 is what I mean.
Oh, you want? Oh, okay.
Oh, 2 and
Let's
5.
go to 6. That's what you said.
Sorry.
So in 5, you've condensed, and then you're continuing here. You're continuing here. This is actually a lengthening in and a lengthening out. And you have to find where those transitions are for you. So when do you get the energy up to the crown of the head?
Mhm.
When do you get the energy down through your quad to your dantian? Okay? So here we have exhale, inhale, exhale, and in 5 it's come on, David. It's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Yeah. Bill,
It's helpful. Thank you.
did, did that answer your
Yeah,
question, or?
it answers my question. I feel like I need to practice
Okay.
both of those more.
Always, always, always.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That was good, Bill. I'm glad you said that. Other questions?
A couple of weeks ago, you showed the difference of where
Yes.
and I suddenly thought, did I remember that right? Can you do that again?
Yes, I can do that again. So when you're going through these postures, they actually are extending or back as you go through from 2 to 6. So I don't know if you can. I'll stay here sideways. Maybe you
Yep.
can see
that's good.
this.
Yes.
And I'll try to exaggerate it a little. So 2, you're out here. And 3, we don't really worry about that particular issue because it's really dependent on what your qua will allow you to do. What rotation can you make? So 2 is here, but when we get to 4, it comes in a little bit. get the elbows in. So 4 is not as out here where 2 is, but back a little bit, because you want 2, 4, 5, and 6.
So you do want. Okay. Yeah.
Not beyond.
Well, no.
Yeah, you're not pushing the elbows back of the line of the shoulders. That may be very small difference between those 4.
Okay.
They don't have to be
But
big.
it is into out.
Yeah. Yes.
Because sometimes 2 feels big.
Yeah. It is.
4 is.
Yeah.
4.
4 is a little. 4 is not smaller. It's just its line of the pattern is closer.
Yeah, it comes in sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else have a question there? Oh, where are we here with that time? Oh, good. So, what I'm going to suggest to you is that you do some practice this week, and I'll let you work on this in a moment, but where you stop at the end of each point where you supposedly have lengthened out. So when you get to here, pause. Feel if you have released the neck, shoulders, chest, and back. And just start with those 4. And you may need to take a little bit of time and really feel that. Clearly this, by pausing, is not, in terms of the flow, helping the flow of the energy. But if you can reach a point where you are really lengthening out at each time, that allows the full flow of the energy. So, and you may find that you need to really pause. Maybe you get to here and it's like, ooh, I really can't release my neck. What do I need to do here? Is it the position of the neck? Do I need to lift, not by way, but the crown of the head, which is slightly back of that, about 2 or 3 fingers width back of that. Open the jade pillow gate. Let the neck release. And let the shoulders release. Let go. And let the chest release. And the difference may be very small. It doesn't have to be huge. But you often will find that as you work on this particular practice, that you consistently hold in one place. And so that can be a focus in your practice, to learn to let go of that spot, whatever it may be. Question about that at all?
You know, you kind of answered my question about how do you release, how do you release the neck? So it's more up from here.
Yep. It's really interesting. we talk about the crown of the head, and our tendency is to think of Bai Hui. But what that does is that tends to slightly close off the jade pillow gate. So the chin needs to tuck slightly so that the actual crown of the head can extend and open that point. And then the neck can relax. Then the neck can release. So what I want you to do at the moment is pick a posture. I don't care a movement. I don't care which one you choose. And just do 10 repetitions trying this practice. Pausing at each fullness, each extension, and make sure that you are lengthening out, letting go. Okay?
Mhm.
Go.
Go.
David, one question before we begin on 5,
Yeah.
where we're lengthening, but
We're condensed.
we're condensing, yes, which seem to work against each other a bit.
No, the lengthening takes place within the condensing. So if you have managed to condense 20%, your lengthening is going to be approximately 20% less.
Okay.
Because it has to be within that condensing. If you go into 5 or 6 and you're trying to lengthen out as much as you possibly can, obviously there is a conflict there. So you have to respect whatever amount you have condensed everything and allow the lengthening to function within that.
Okay.
Do you have any further question about that?
So the condensing essentially is primary there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the lengthening within that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
But one of the things that I see in watching, and I think I fell into this when I was first working on this also, is allowing 5 and 6. Part of the condensing is it's really interesting. You're not going out as much as in, say, 2. But you're also not coming in as much as the other postures. So the condensing causes all of those movements to be a little bit further away from the body, so that they are a little bit smaller.
Smaller, yeah.
Condensing, maybe after lengthening, is one of the hard ones to feel at first, I think. Yeah. Other questions in there?
I guess I can't make a difference between condensing and lengthening in.
So I'm not going to go into that today.
Oops.
Sorry, Bill.
Because I want you to focus on lengthening out.
Yeah.
I will go into lengthening in, and it's different. The one thing I will say is the condensing is constant. The lengthening is changing. It goes in and out. That may not make much sense to you at the moment.
Yeah.
Condensing is constant. I guess I'm all muddled about condensing.
Yeah. So the it's another topic we could spend some time on. Uh, so condensing is compressing the energy. So there is a sense of when we're working with um, 2, 3, and 4 that we are using um, we're using 100% of that's obviously we're not using 100%, but let's just say that for a moment. We're using 100% in our flow. As we go into condensing, we are compacting the energy so that it is denser and more powerful. And just for an example, let's say that you manage to do that 20%. So what you have is the same amount of energy, but now it's contained within an 80% limit. Not limit. A limit is not a good word. Contained within an 80%. I'm not coming up with a word here. It's contained within 80%. Let's stop
Okay,
there.
that's right. You don't need the noun.
um, and so you still have all the energy, but it is more compact and more powerful. And everything is a little bit smaller as a result. So the movements are not quite as big. Um, and they don't go in and out as much. Does that help you at all, Bill? Is that
In a way I couldn't articulate. I'm thinking of it as uh, not spatially concentrated, but more concentrated. Uh, you're not like moving the energy into you're not compacting the energy when you're condensing the energy, I guess, into into a specific space. It's uh, I don't know. Because I think I don't know. I'm trying to find words too, but
yeah?
uh, concentrating and uh,
Yeah, concentrating isn't a
is a
bad word.
is a
Um,
yeah.
Mm, hmm.
it's hmm, we'll come back to this, and I'll try to do some thinking about it and see if I can express it a little more clearly for you.
But I think concentrate when I hear, yeah, condensing and concentrating to me are kind of
Yeah,
similar, right?
it is. Yeah, it is concentrated. I was trying to think of a mechanical um, image, um, but I realize I don't know enough about them to, to be able to find a useful one. But um,
But it shouldn't be mechanical, should it?
I hear you saying, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because
no, it shouldn't be
it's to me
mechanical.
that the
But
muscle,
I was
the,
trying to think of uh, an example of when you something where you make the movement of the mechanical the thing that's creating pressure smaller,
Okay.
and it therefore creates greater pressure within that space.
Yeah.
Which is
Sort of a hydraulic piston or something.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, pick a posture and play with lengthening.
Well, my first reaction was to do 5, but now I don't think I will.
A little harder.
A little harder. Let's get some.
It will be easier to do 2, 3, or 4. Yes. So remember, I want you to pause at the completion of the fullness. So at the top, pause and really go through those stages of feeling the lengthening. You have to really take some time and feel each one of those. Neck, shoulders, back, chest, and feel a release of each one. And you may feel a slight lengthening as a result of each release. Take a little more time, Bill. Feel that. Feel each one. Feel each one letting go. So come to a pause. And relax. So what did you discover in doing that, if anything?
I discovered exactly what I figured I'd discover.
Yeah.
Um, when we begin in Wuji, I'm think I'm able to release, in succession various parts of my body, and
Mm-hmm.
before we begin, or I begin, I feel fairly loose. But as soon as any movement starts, um, I could stop at any point and feel tightness. I mean, tightness is too much, but I can feel the muscles working,
Mm-hmm.
and so the releasing, and not just at the extent, but the releasing has to happen. I understand, at all points along the way.
Right.
And that's just difficult to carry along. Like I start well, and then um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And did you find lengthening out was any help with that?
Um, yes. So when we paused, I was doing three. Um, Probably the neck was the first thing that needed to be worked on, but then also, the hips and legs. I
Actually,
dis
yeah.
discovered, oh, they're tighter than they should be. They're holding.
Yeah.
Um, so
Good. Anyone else?
Well, I also did 3, and by the time I finished, I said, "Oh, what was my back doing here?" That I'm not sure I was doing much releasing, much lengthening in my back, shoulders, yeah, and,
Yeah.
and a little bit more in the neck than I expected to be.
Uh-huh.
But and realizing I was, especially on the left, it felt like I was
Over
cranking,
twisting.
over
Yeah.
twisting.
Yep.
But and every once in a while I'd think about my legs, but
Yeah. Okay.
not so much.
I might say for both of you about 3, since the two of you did 3. One of the things that I noticed was that after you had do the under one, it's a little easier to see. After you had done the extension out, there was some twisting in, but I didn't see much tendency of the elbows to come in. And you want to go, if I move this a little more quickly, you want this whole thing to come in so you have somewhere to go out from.
yeah.
So, back to the elbows again. You want those elbows to work because that's the path to your scapula and spine. So, other thoughts or questions here? How?
Yeah, in doing 4, the role of the elbows was clear.
Mm.
And so that was really helpful to see how they are actually connected with not only the lengthening but the relaxing. Once I went through a few and I was stopping and kind of paying attention to that. I noticed that was helpful. And I also found a few times, I think like Bill said, oh, why am I using my muscles? Right. What my arms shouldn't be needing muscles to rise. Where's the energy here? So just kind of like just paying more attention kind of shows you those things. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Good. Anything for you, Mr. Bynum?
Yeah, when I was practicing this week, I had one especially good practice. It was by a stream and very nice and everything. I was thinking mostly about twisting and roundedness.
Mm-hmm.
I've still had that in my head, and then putting this in also, uh, I think brought the things together uh, better. With twisting, I think one awareness I got was I was twisting like from the elbow down.
Yeah.
And if you twist the whole arm, those elbows do move the way you described it.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And when you combine that with the lengthening too, especially going out, I did two, which was maybe the most flamboyant of the postures I get externally, at least.
Yep.
That it just felt more complete, more instead of piece of the jigsaw puzzle. Felt like it was all together.
Uh-huh. Good. Well, so play with this lengthening practice this week when you have some time, and see what it does for you. Just because Carol and Bill were not here at the beginning, I'm getting a pacemaker next Tuesday, so I will not be having class next Wednesday.
Hope that goes smoothly. I think it's a pretty routine thing, but there's always a little anxiety there. So.
Yeah, it has its possibilities. However,
do they do that with local anesthesia?
Yeah, well, I mean, you could be put in the twilight because they do have to open you up and insert wires into
important places,
blood vessels, and so it's not something that could be done with you conscious.
Watching and saying, "Oh, well, that's interesting."
Yeah,
like, ah!
You might say it's interesting, but
it's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting if you aren't involved.
Yeah, right.
It has another dimension then.
So, sorry to have another interruption, but
it's life. It's fine.
Seems like a good thing at this point.
It does.
Yeah.
You got a good excuse, David. Well,
thanks. Okay, guys.
Where are you going?
What?
Where are you going for that, David?
Middlesex.
Okay.
Although all of the cardiology units of Middlesex and Hartford Healthcare have been combined.
Yeah.
So they're really one group, but they work both in Middlesex and in Hartford. And fortunately, I can have my same doctor, but he will do it at Middlesex, so that's considerably easier for us to get to Middlesex than Hartford.
Indeed. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, good luck with that, David. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sure
I mean, it's these days it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah. I'm not terribly concerned about it. No. Great. Have a good week.
Okay, you too.
Great. Since I am not there, I'm going to let Carol enjoy being there with you, and I'm going to go try to figure out what is happening with this car.
Okay.
Which is actually not my car, my daughter's, which now my son's or my grandkids, I'm not sure. But anyway, I need to go figure this out. So, but I
Okay.
think that's good. Yeah, I think it'd be much easier for Carol to have you there without me here trying to figure it out while Rick's in the background trying to figure out what's going on with the car. So,
It does seem to be an issue that ought to be attended to.
yeah. I mean, we got to get it back to people, and I got to pick up my other one from the shop. So,
Okay.
another day. Enjoy
You-
your time there. I look forward to more of these. Yeah, and after you're back and feeling up for it, we can schedule more.
Try it again.
Okay. Try again. That's right. Okay.
Maybe we could work out a carpool and meet somewhere Salem and then drive the rest of the way together.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can get there. I just
Right. You have to be able to get out of the driveway.
All right.
All
See ya.
right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
As I was driving up, realizing I miss Shelley.
Oh.
We did this together
Oh.
an awful lot.
An awful lot. Yep. Yep. Yeah. That's one of the saddest things to happen in my immediate group.
Yes, I'm going to go over Saturday and help change her.
Oh, you're good to do that.
Keeps me in contact with her.
Yeah. Good. Good.
They're working on getting the eye gaze so that she can look at letters to spell out words because her arm is getting weaker.
This is this is such a devastating illness. Yeah.
How old was your mother when you? Do we need to keep recording this?
No, we don't have to.